All right, today we're going to talk about job loss at 50 years old and beyond. Whoa! What are you talking to me about this? You're in your 20s. I know, but it has huge ramifications for where you are now. So listen up. This is a really powerful lesson with some cutting-edge research. So how do you navigate in the new economy? Let me give you some sobering news. ProPublica and the Urban Institute teamed up to do this big study. It was of people 50 years old and older in the workforce today. So this is the rules of today. 56% will lose their job at least once involuntarily. So it could be a layoff, could be, elimination of position. And out of those people, 56%, a third of them will suffer this same episode another time before their career's over. But only 10% of them will get a job and make the kind of money they did prior to this layoff. And most of people, 90%, won't ever make as much money as they did prior to this event. The study determined working in your 50s is riskier and more turbulent than it was once thought to be. So what now? What can you do and what should you do to serve you well? First, it's exciting that you know this altogether. I mean, the fact that there could be a roadblock down the road, but for you to get the warning this early in your career, that's huge advantage. So let's break this down into two places where you can fortify your outcome. One would be employment, and two would be personal finance. I mean, after all, losing the job, that's employment. But then if you're laid off for a while, not getting income for that period of time, that's huge financially, and then not restoring to the same earnings level for potentially the rest of your career. For 90% of the people that happens. So it's a combination of employment and personal finance. So let's take a look at employment first. First, you must be a lifelong learner. You've got to get smarter every day. Always strive to become more valuable in the marketplace, to always be learning more. It used to be lifelong learning was kind of optional. No longer at all. You must view your career as stepping stones strategically. 2 to 4 year stepping stones. It used to be a job was a career. Now it's a 2 to 4 year stepping stone, and you need to step wisely. So let's say you're in a volatile workplace. Perhaps early in your career you do high risk, high reward, and those ventures are okay. But as you get older, you want to go ahead and build in the notion of continuous employment and get to a place where you can absolutely work through the end of your career. So you'll always want to continue to build your brand and build your value and consistently throughout your career. See, here's a little secret. The best workers are seldom laid off. A layoff to an employer is a chance that you can go ahead and get rid of the dead wood. You can get your least productive people out of there, and you don't have to give them an explanation if, let's say, you're taking the workforce down by 10%. May sound brutal, that's the way it is. Then take a look at the other side of the equation, personal finance. This is a vivid reason to begin retirement contributions early. So you've got to start immediately at your first job. The experts say you need 12 to 15% that you need to put away of the money you earn for retirement to be in a good place one day. If your employer offers, say, like a 401k or a comparable product, take it. If they offer you a match, this is really significant. You have to take all of the match. Say that they match every dollar that you put in, dollar for dollar. Here's an example. Last employer I was with, they would match 100% of what I put in up to the first 6%. So 100%. For every dollar I put in, they put in $1. Hey, the stock market on a good day is 7.5% to 10%. And all of a sudden, now my employer, I put in $1, they put in $1. That's 100%. That's incredible. You have got to take the entire match. Most employees don't. You need to be the exception. If they don't offer a plan, they don't have a 401k, well, you can either be a victim, oh my gosh, I didn't get to a good place because my employer didn't have a 401k, or you say, hey, hold it, especially a lot of you in the gig economy. You're not going to have a 401k. So what you need to do is you need to call a reputable financial institution. So I'm not recommending, but I'm saying places like Charles Schwab, Vanguard, Fidelity, or call a local broker. And you open up an IRA. And then you go ahead and max it out. Then you go ahead and open up another vehicle. I would suggest starting with about 6% of your earnings that goes into this IRA or 401k, whatever the vehicle is. Then every raise that you get, you start to push it towards this vehicle until you're at 15%. That gets you the full power of compound interest. And as that's growing down the road, we're going to see that that's really important. So it means you have to start off, if making these contributions puts you in a financial hardship, so you got to start off with a roommate or eating ramen noodles or not having the apartment or the car you want. You got to do it. Your older self will love you for it. You don't want to be economically fragile at the end. At the end, you want to be economically powerful. So see, if you suffer career setbacks and you're part of that 90% who have to learn to manage with lower pay, you might not be able to swing a large retirement contribution. Now think of this. A career is about 40 to 45 years. If you were to be laid off at 50, that's 15 years. And now, because your compensation goes down, you can't be putting 15% away. But you know something? Because you started early, you're going to have this snowball that's rolling down the mountain that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger to go ahead and serve you well. That's the magic and the power of compound interest. It may be the smallest dollars you put in when you're starting off because you're making less money. It will be the largest dollars you take out when you get to retirement. So maybe you make small contributions at the end, but again, compound interest will fortify you if you couldn't make the full 15% for the last part of your career. People often underestimate the risks. They're too optimistic. Don't let that be you. Build your brand, start early, and build your wealth. You can do this.